recrue en défense centrale à l'OM, CJ EGAN-RILEY. Alors, j'imagine que vous avez peut-être regardé des compilations YouTube. Sûrement, vous ne le connaissez pas forcément. Mais nous, on est allé chercher quelqu'un à qui poser les questions pour connaître un peu mieux son profil, quelqu'un qui le connaît vraiment. Il supporte Burnley. Il a suivi CJ depuis ses débuts à Burnley, on imagine. Et il en parle sur son compte Turfcast. Donc voilà, welcome Turfcast. It's a pleasure to have you today.
Yeah, thank you for inviting me, lads. I appreciate it.
Il va nous expliquer qui est ce joueur et pourquoi l'OM a misé sur lui. Donc, avant de rentrer dans le vif du sujet, évidemment, pense à t'abonner à Massilla Zone parce qu'on fait souvent de ce genre de contenu, en tout cas sur YouTube. N'hésite pas à aller sur TikTok aussi, Instagram, Twitter, enfin toute la panoplie. Et voilà, c'est parti, on va commencer. Je vais poser des questions à notre ami anglais. Can you tell us about Egan Riley? If you can make a general presentation of the player.
Yeah, so he's obviously a defender, a centre-back, right-footed centre-back. He's not your typical sort of like English, strong, bruising centre-back who goes flying into tackles. Weirdly enough, Maxime Esteve, who's French, who plays for Burnley, he's the guy that does that for us. CJ was better with the ball at his feet. CJ would help us build the attacks better than what Maxime Esteve does. So he can sometimes get caught out in some defensive duties, but he is a very good defender, and it's a shame that we're going to lose him. But he's going to a big club, a Champions League club as well. So he's a good player. Probably will be very good with the ball at his feet. He'll have a bit more time on the ball as well in the French league, so I think he'll be able to sort of express his sort of playing out style from the back and things like that.
Et quelle était sa carrière avant de venir, il est formé à Manchester City, quelle était sa carrière avant de venir à Burnley?
Yeah, well, he came through the ranks, I think, at Manchester City. That was sort of like his youth career. Yeah, I've just quickly got it up then. So he came through the youth at Manchester City, the youth system, and then we sort of signed him. Obviously, that's when Vincent Kompany was at Burnley, and obviously Vincent Kompany, ex-Manchester City legend. He obviously knew a lot of youngsters at Man City. He came in. I'd never heard of CJ EGAN-RILEY, if I'm going to be honest with you, when we signed him. I think he played maybe once or twice for Man City. Didn't really break into the first team, but it's Man City and he was 19 years old, so you can't really expect him to do that. Didn't really do much until Burnley signed him. But even then, for the first 2 years at Burnley, he didn't really do too much because we sent him out on loan to Hibernian and PSV, I think it was.
Avant de rejoindre l'équipe première de Burnley, voilà, il a été prêté à Hibernian, comme tu l'as dit. Pour quelle raison?
Yeah, so obviously, like I said, we signed him when he was I think he just turned 19. He might have still been 18. I can't remember, but he was very young when we signed him. And obviously, we brought him in with the view to sort of getting him a bit of experience, sort of strengthening him up, if you will, out on loan. The Scottish League is known for being a very brutal league. The weather is even worse up there than it is down here. So you've got to deal with that. You've got a lot of sort of big bruising forwards, and people like CJ can go there and sort of ply their trade without too much pressure. Because unless you're in the top two, Rangers or Celtic, then there's not too much pressure in the Scottish League. And obviously, like you say, he went to PSV as well. I think it was a PSV B team, sort of young PSV, I think it was. But yeah, obviously the fans were watching him. We were looking at him. The Hibernian fans loved him. He went up there and immediately became sort of a cult hero, if I remember rightly. They really, really liked him despite his young age. But yeah, the fans were looking at him thinking, yeah, this player's going to go. He's going to do well. He's going to get some experience. And then he's going to break into the first team. We probably expected him to break into the first team a little bit earlier than what he did. But obviously, you've got to remember, when we signed him, we was in the Championship after getting relegated from the Premier League. Then under Vincent Kompany, we got promoted straight back to the Premier League. And he probably wasn't ready for the Premier League then, to be fair. So it was a case of giving him another loan. And then if we get relegated, putting him in the side. And obviously, that's exactly what happened in the end. And he did very well.
Ce qui est surprenant aussi, c'est qu'il fait 13 matchs pardon, sur la saison 2023-2024 avec les jeunes du PSV. Donc c'est la deuxième division hollandaise. Pourquoi, lorsqu'il revient cette saison, on lui donne sa chance d'être dans le 11 de titulaire de Burnley?
The first few games of the season, he wasn't actually in the team. He wasn't starting. We had Maxime Esteve and Worrell at centre-back for the first couple of games. And we did look okay defensively. And then Worrell got injured. And then CJ came and stepped in. So there was a bit of an injury there that helped him break into the side. But as soon as he came in the side, you could tell that he was not necessarily better than Worrell defensively, But as I've already said, he's a completely different profile of player. He helps us with the build-up. Burnley were given a lot of criticism last season, and even when CJ was in the side, but Burnley were given a lot of criticism last season for being boring, for being slow build-up, because we had players at the back. We were trying to play out from the back, which everybody does these days in England, and we were too slow. We weren't moving the ball quick enough. CJ came in, and he was still decent defensively. I think a lot of reason why we were so good defensively last season was because of Maxime Esteve. But he then came in and helped us. We were still good defensively, and he helped us build out from the back. So we built from the back with more purpose. He plays these beautiful diagonal passes. So you could see as soon as he came in that he gave us a different dynamic, if you will. But he was still pretty solid defensively. So yeah, he did have to wait for his chance. He waited sort of like 2 years, and as we've already referenced, did go out on loan to a couple of places, and then didn't immediately get back in the side. Into the side when he came back. But due to an injury, he came in the side and he grabbed the chance with both hands. To be fair to him.
On l'a rapidement abordé, hein, au niveau de son profil, c'est exactement ce que veut De Zerbi, un défenseur, très bon, très, très bon à la relance. Heu, Est-ce que tu peux nous en dire plus justement sur son profil en tant que joueur? Quelles sont ses principales, qualités et ses principales, faiblesses?
Yeah, so I've probably already really answered that one. Like I said, I did forget that De Zerbi was actually at Marseille now, and obviously I remember watching his sides come to Turf Moor when he was at Brighton and stuff. He's another one sort of like likes purposeful play. He will fit into that. He will fit into that definitely. But as I've said, in terms of profile of the player, he's more of a ball playing centre back. He's very good with the ball at his feet. As I've said, he's very good at passing the ball. He will help you build up play, especially if you've got players that like to hit the wings or players that come inside and met the runs on the shoulders of the defenders. He can then play it over the top. He's very good at that. In terms of weaknesses, there was a couple of times where he would lose his man. I think there was a time when I can't remember who it was against, but we very rarely conceded goals last season. But I think there was a time where he did lose his man, and I think it was from a corner. It might have been Millwall on the last day of the season. I can't remember. And there are sometimes he would be a little bit slack defensively. He's still a good defender. He's still a good defensive player. He's just he's definitely not as good as Maxime Esteve defensively, who's our other centre-back. Hopefully he still is our other centre-back when the season starts. But he's better with the ball at his feet. But in terms of weaknesses, I am being a bit harsh because he had a very good season defensively as well. But there were a couple of sort of like lapses in concentration. But he's only young. I think he's 21, 22. So that will come as he gets better.
Non, mais en plus, ce qui est intéressant avec, ce que tu dis, c'est que, c'est un profil beaucoup plus offensif, ses qualités, mentales, en disent long aussi et voilà, peut-être qu'il manque un peu parfois de concentration ou d'expérience pour, être hyper performant en défense. Donc, ce qui peut être intéressant pour notre formation en tout cas, c'est est-ce qu'il peut, jouer aussi latéral, droit?
As far as I remember, unless it was a League Cup game, earlier in his Burnley career, or even last season, I don't think he ever played at right back. We have a very good right back in Connor Roberts, so he's not going to displace him. But I'm not sure he's ever played defensive midfield for us. But I do think that role will be perfect for him. I believe a defensive sort of like sort of like in the pivot role between the midfield, obviously. Excuse me, and the two centre backs, that would be perfect for him because it'll give him time, it'll give him space. The weaknesses he has where he lapses in concentration, if he does have a lapse in concentration, it's probably not going to be as effective on the team, and it gives him more time to sort of like play the balls, get the ball to the more creative players in your squad. So a defensive midfield position might suit him very, very well, depending on sort of like your style of play. But I think judging on sort of like a Roberto De Zerbi side, he would suit that perfectly. But yeah, he played all last season at centre back for us, and it might be a bit of a change to go there straight away. But I do think that would suit him, if I'm honest with you.
Et est-ce que, à partir de tout ce qu'on vient de dire, tu pourrais, nous dire, enfin nous citer des joueurs, à qui, tu pourrais le comparer justement?
Yeah, it's difficult to choose individuals, especially obviously French individuals. I don't watch too much of the French league, if I'm honest with you. But just to keep it sort of like Burnley related and things like that. Do you know Taylor Harwood-Bellis? He plays for Southampton last year. Does get found out defensively, but very good with the ball at his feet. And the reason why I'm using him as an example is because the other time we won the championship under Vincent Kompany, he played that exact same role. Probably wasn't great defensively and had a defensive partner next to him who was better than him defensively, but helped us build the play, helped us do the cross field passes, helped us build it up and change defense into attack. He's very good at that. He's very good at changing defense into attack. So anyone you can think of who's good with stuff like that, good with the ball at his feet, calm under pressure as well. Let's remember, he's, like I said, he's 21, 22, and he will take the ball at his feet in tight areas, try and turn and get it to the more creative players. So pretty much anyone like that, really. But yeah, it's difficult to sort of like name individuals, if I'm honest with you.
Okay. We understand that you don't watch the French league because even us don't watch
Fair
the
enough.
French league.
That's
So
understandable.
don't worry. Et comment, enfin, quel rôle il a joué dans la promotion de la montée de Burnley?
It was pivotal. Like I said, like the reason why we got to 100 points is because of how good we were defensively. So James Trafford in the net, Maxime Esteve, our other centre back, and CJ EGAN-RILEY were the main focal point as to why our defence was so good. I would say he's probably the least important for us out of them three, but don't take anything away from him. He was fantastic. Like I said already, he gave us a different dynamic in helping us change defence into attack quicker than what we were doing at the start of the season. But if you look at the majority of the teams of the season from the Championship, them three are all in it and all deserve to be in it. There's not many centre backs, especially in the Championship from last season, that I'd swap CJ EGAN-RILEY for. Maybe Pascal Struijk at Leeds or somebody like that, but there's not many. So yeah, he was absolutely pivotal, like I said, and him coming into the team after the injury to Joe Worrell earlier in the season was a smart move, and it really did help us.
Et pourquoi du coup il a pas prolongé son contrat? Est-ce que ça résulte aussi d'une stratégie pour lui, de dire: «Écoutez, Burnley, ça suffit pour moi, je mérite, un plus grand club et donc je me mets libre pour attirer plus de monde» et quelle était d'ailleurs la réaction des fans? Peut-être un peu déçus?
Obviously, I'm not sure. I don't know. We've been trying to convince him to stay for the full last season, really. Our chief operating officer regularly did interviews saying we've offered him a contract, we want him to stay. Ultimately, he's obviously got his sights set on something bigger, which is fair enough. You know, Marseille is a massive club. It's a brilliant stadium. I've been to that stadium. I watched England take on Russia there in Euro 2016 when I had to run from all the Russians that were causing all the trouble in the city centre. So I have been to Marseille. I love it. Lovely place. So he's obviously got his sights on something bigger. The south of France is obviously lovely. The weather in Burnley is awful. Even, you know, you get like 2 months of summer and that's it. It's just raining. But, you know, I feel like a lot of it was the first 2 years. I feel like he probably felt like it was not necessarily unfair, but he probably wanted to break into the squad earlier than what he did. He probably has a little bit of resentment of not being given a Premier League chance. I'm not sure. You'll have to ask him. The reaction has mostly been like, yeah, fair enough. You know, he's done well. Good luck to him, sort of thing. There's been a few people a little bit negative because he didn't sign a new deal, and obviously we've lost him for nothing. We might get some money at a tribunal, but it won't be a lot. So there are some fans who are a little bit disappointed with the way that it's happened. But yeah, I'm one of them. I love football, don't get me wrong. It's my main passion in life. I love Burnley Football Club and I want them to be amazing. Same with England as well. I'd love them to actually win something, you know. But it's a job at the end of the day to them. Like, I work in TV. So say like if another TV channel came to me and said, you can do this in the south of France for more money and have a better life, I'd be like, yeah, go on then, I'll do it. So it's one of them things. It is what it is. It's a shame to lose him. It's a shame to lose him for free. Because if we'd sign into a longer term contract and then, you know, big clubs like your Marseilles or, you know, even your Chelsea's and stuff, because I know Strasbourg were looking at him, who are owned by the same company as Chelsea, we could have made a lot of money for him. And that's the main thing that disappoints me. Nothing against him. I just feel like our board probably should have played it a little bit better, but they've been offering him a contract all season. So I'm not sure what more they could have done, if I'm honest.
Donc si on comprend bien, tu n'es pas du tout surpris, tu as parlé du temps et du contexte du sud de la France. Tu pas surpris de sa signature dans un club, d'ailleurs d'une stature supérieure à Burnley, c'est-à-dire, l'Olympique de Marseille?
I was surprised slightly, yes. Not that he's gone there, but more a case of a club of Marseille's stature wanted him. Like, I understand why you want him, get him down to a big contract. He'll go there. I do think the French league will suit him. He'll have more time on the ball. But I was surprised because there was a lot of stuff, like I said, about Strasbourg. West Ham, I'm always unsure about West Ham. They're a good Premier League club, but there's always a lot of circus surrounding them, always a lot of sort of like negativity. So I always don't understand why players would want to go there, if I'm honest with you. Big club, but there's always a lot of sort of like stuff going on with West Ham. They have settled down a little bit over the last few years, to be fair. But yeah, when I saw the news of Strasbourg, I thought, well, that would make sense, even though Strasbourg are definitely a smaller club than Marseille. You know, there's a clear path to play for Chelsea if he went to Strasbourg, for example. I'm not sure how many players have made that transition, but there's obviously a clear path there due to the ownership. But yeah, I was surprised when Marseille came in for him, just because obviously they're a huge club, one of the biggest clubs in France, you know, top 15, 20 in Europe, you'd say as well. Like I said, brilliant stadium, brilliant atmosphere, and a beautiful city in a beautiful part of the world. So yeah, surprised more that Marseille wanted him, but I can understand why you want him, if that makes sense. You will make a lot of money on him, probably, in a few years. Well, you'll make money on him regardless because you got him free.
On espère, mais du coup, est-ce qu'il a le niveau, Ligue 1? Est-ce qu'il a le niveau Première Ligue? Et surtout, est-ce qu'il a le niveau, Champions League? Puisque tu dis que tu es surpris de le voir, débarquer, à l'OM.
I think he's got the League 1 level, yes, and that's not a slight on the French league. I think you've just got more time on the ball. There's a few good sides. Obviously, PSG are very good. Apologies, but then you know yourselves are quite good. But then other than that, there's not many like really good teams in Ligue 1 at the minute, in my opinion. Champions League, I think that might be a step too far for him at the minute. Like if you're coming up against, you know, Real Madrid and Barcelona and, you know, Man United, not Man United anymore, Man City, Liverpool, you know what I mean? Then yes, I think he'll struggle. We did have a little bit of a worry if he was staying. Obviously, we're not worried about it anymore, how he would fare in the Premier League. Obviously, the Premier League is, in my opinion, obviously I'm English, so I'm going to say this, but the most entertaining league in the world and the hardest league in the world to play in. I do think he would have struggled against, you know, your Premier League strikers, your Premier League forwards. So based on that, obviously the Champions League is a level above as well. So I can't see how he will be good enough for the Champions League yet. He can be, don't get me wrong. You're signing potential as well. You're not signing a ready-made defender. You've said there he might not play much this season, maybe next season. Next season he will have continued to grow and he'll have another year experience. So yeah, he's good enough for League and Champions League, probably not just yet, but I think he can be that level. He is that good. I think he could potentially go and play for England as well one day. So yeah, you've got a good player. You just got to remember he's 21, 22 yet. So give him a few years and then he might be at that level. Yeah.
Pour conclure, cet entretien, assez sympa, avec toi, Turfcast, on va te demander, si les Anglais, en tout cas les fans anglais de football suivent un peu plus l'OM depuis qu'il y a Greenwood. Bon, il y a quand même un désamour avec, le pays entre Greenwood et le pays de l'Angleterre, mais il y a Rowe, maintenant il y a EGAN-RILEY, Gomez. Est-ce qu'on en parle un peu plus avec notamment, De Zerbi qui est passé à Brighton?
Well, I've always kind of looked at Marseille, not necessarily looked out for the results, but obviously when I see him in the Champions League, I'm always like, yeah, decent club, good side. And like I said, I've been to that stadium, I've been to the city, so I have a very small connection, admittedly, but I do have a connection to the city and the place. It's probably. I also went to Nice as well when England lost against Iceland, which I wish I weren't there, obviously. But I've.
Not a good city.
I liked the Marseille Stadium much better than I did Nice. But yeah, honestly, there's not too much noise about Marseille in England at the minute, if I'm honest with you. Obviously, PSG have just won the Champions League, so that's where everyone's focus seems to be in terms of French clubs. But yeah, over the last sort of like 10, 15 years, Marseille have always sort of like been a club that stood out to me and things like that. And like I said, it was a pleasure to go to the city. But yeah, obviously, if you guys, you know, start doing well and stuff, and you know, you're signing these youngsters, and you know, you've obviously got De Zerbi, an ex-Premier League manager as well. There's probably going to be more eyes on you this next coming season, especially in Burnley. Anyway, put it this way, I'll be looking out to see how CJ is getting on. I definitely will, and I know a lot of Burnley fans will as well.
C'était super cool de partager ce moment avec Turfcast, parce que voilà, EGAN-RILEY, c'est pas forcément un profil qu'on connaît, hein, évidemment. Je vous mets au défi de regarder la Championship toute la saison. Je pense pas qu'il y en a beaucoup. D'ailleurs, c'était compliqué de trouver un intervenant, mais voilà, on a un peu plus de clés pour comprendre pourquoi l'OM a fait ce choix. Donc, s'il y a des futures recrues, on refera des formats comme ça, parce que c'est super intéressant d'avoir toujours cet avis un peu plus approfondi. Donc, merci à tous d'avoir suivi. Je vous souhaite à tous un bon été. Je m'égare un peu, mais en tout cas, suivez Massy la Zone sur Insta, Twitter, YouTube et TikTok. Voilà, on s'améliore de jour en jour pour vous offrir du contenu toujours plus qualitatif. Thank you.
Merci.
Have a great
Merci.
nice
And
day.
au revoir. Thanks for asking, mate. It's been a pleasure. It's the first one I've done with a translator, so it's been an experience. But no, thank you. And have a good season. Hope you do well in the Champions League and obviously League. And I hope CJ EGAN-RILEY obviously continues to develop.
Et du coup, bah, merci à vous d'avoir suivi la vidéo. Ciao, allez l'OM.